The Gene Hackman case is fascinating, and it's fascinating because so much of it doesn't make any sense. And I've always loved cases that don't make any sense. Not even the forensics, not even going into the forensics or what particularly happened, any of the toxicology, which we don't have. It's the part of it that just doesn't make any sense. And there's one thing that anybody will tell you who's ever done anything involving any kind of criminal investigation. If something doesn't make sense to you, there's a good reason for that. Why is that? Why are there so many questions? Have you thought about them? Is anybody really going after that? No. Especially in news, especially news and cable news, they have no interest because they want to get to the next story. Remember that. All they want to do is get to the next story because they've got to do their 30 stories an hour. Now, the death of Gene Hackman is a case that, as I said, just doesn't add up at all. Now, as somebody who has been involved in this, and been around in a prosecutor, and been around criminal justice and all of that, your first job is to follow the evidence, ask the right questions, and never take anything at face value. Always understand motives. Why would somebody lie? Why would somebody fudge? And also understand that most of the time you have just wrong information. Plain old negligence, nothing necessarily nefarious. Now, when I look at the strange and very unsettling circumstances surrounding the death of, I think, one of my favorite actors, Gene Hackman, and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, something doesn't sit right. You see, the media have always been quick to rule out foul play, but the details emerging from the case raise far more questions than they answer. Let's break it down step by step, shall we? Okay, first of all, the speedy dismissal of foul play. Fascinating. The first red flag in any suspicious death is when authorities rush to declare there was no foul play. Immediately. Nothing to see here. Move along. Before a thorough investigation had even been conducted, media outlets parroted the same line. No foul play suspected. Why the rush? Why the certainty? Gene Hackman and his wife were found deceased in their home in Santa Fe. And instead of following and allowing, I should say, forensic experts to complete a full and thorough evaluation, the narrative was already being shaped. That alone is enough to warrant suspicion. Not proof of anything, but you wonder, why do people want this? Who benefits, cui bono, from there being this immediate ruling out of anything suspicious? The open door and the pills. This is the second issue. According to the reports, when Hackman arrived when police arrived at the residence, the front door was slightly open. Now let's think about this. A couple found dead, an open door, and authorities still claim it's not suspicious. Nothing to see here, really. Also, one dog dead, others not. Partial carbon monoxide, maybe. Mummified remains. Open doors in crime scenes often indicate forced entry or somebody was there. It just means let's look into this. Again, we're not there. We don't have pictures and crime scene photos and investigations, but this is weird. The door was open. An attempt to air out an environment, perhaps containing toxins, or was it just a hasty exit by an intruder? What was it? Was it a chance to air out the carbon monoxide? Who knows? Then there's the issues of the pills reportedly found inside the home. Were these prescribed medications? Were they antibiotics? When you say pills, were there overdoses? Were they tampered with? The details remain vague, and that's another red flag. Number 3, why was gas poisoning so quickly ruled out? Now think about this. Carbon monoxide poisoning was initially floated as a potential cause, but then just as quickly dismissed. Why? That's odd. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer. It seeps into the bloodstream, deprives the body of oxygen and hemoglobin, and can claim lives in a matter of hours. Why was this explanation brushed aside so quickly? If it wasn't gas poisoning, then what exactly caused their deaths? The explanation is wanting, and no explanation was provided. And the silence from authorities is, as they say, deafening. Okay? Now, what about this, the autopsy? What aren't they telling us? The reports state that the autopsies were completed, but give no indication of the cause of death. Why the delay in releasing this information? Was there something found about the information? Did the authorities find something that they didn't want the public to know? Is this just protocol? High-profile deaths often undergo multiple layers of examination. But this seems to be another case where we are told, nothing to see here. Move along. That was quick. Okay, move on. And with all due respect, do they have the proper expertise to really dig into this? You'd be surprised the number of jurisdictions that don't even have coroners, that don't even have medical examiners. I don't know. Remember during the who was it? During that Alec Baldwin shooting case? Oh my God, it was the Keystone Cops. Until a full toxicology report is released and a thorough and painstaking review of the information, we don't know anything. Number 5, Gene Hackman's daughters and their rather unusual behavior. You know, family members are usually the first to demand answers in mysterious deaths. Yet Hackman's daughters reacted to this most interesting. Their reactions have been kind of oddly muted. A report stated that one daughter hadn't spoken to him in months, which could be a reflection of maybe strained family ties, who knows. But it's the lack of visible concern or demand for deeper investigation. Hey, we're out at Denny's or wherever it was. Everything's fine. Yeah, what are you going to do? Why aren't they questioning the circumstances surrounding their father's passing? Are they being kept in the dark, or do they know more than they're letting on? Also, let's find out. This is very interesting, too. Let's find out who would have taken under the will. Under most jurisdictions, a parent does not have to leave anything to their children. It's a fascinating subject. How about the strict diet and isolation factor? You know, a close friend of, by the way, this is number 6, if you're keeping track, a close friend of Gene Hackman revealed that his wife, Betsy Arakawa, had him on a strict diet in his final years. While this could be chalked up to caring for an aging spouse, extreme dietary restrictions can also lead to malnutrition, organ failure, and even heart complications, or health complications, and heart as well. Did this play a role in the deaths? Was Hackman being controlled or manipulated in his final days? If he was in poor health, why wasn't there any mention of medical intervention? And number 7, how long before a body mummifies? You know, the timing of the discovery of their bodies raises yet another question. How long were they deceased before they were found? Environmental factors such as temperature and humidity play a role, obviously, in the decomposition and putrescence process. If bodies are left for too long, forensic evaluation becomes difficult, if not impossible. If too much time had passed, it would severely limit the ability to determine an exact cause of death. Were the bodies in an advanced state of decomposition? Is this case mummification? Is that a real word? Is that a correct use? Were key forensic markers lost before an investigation could properly take place? This is what I want to know. Number 8. There's a pattern of cover-ups, as you know, historically in Hollywood deaths. Hollywood has a long history of sudden, unexplained, or poorly examined deaths, from Marilyn Monroe to Brittany Murphy to Isaac Happy. High-profile figures have been found dead under circumstances that never quite add up. Marilyn Monroe, we can go on forever. Gene Hackman, though retired from acting, was still a powerful figure in the industry. Could he have known something? Could his death have been staged to look natural while something more sinister was at play? Number 9, the media role. Why aren't they digging deeper? You see, the corporate media have shown time and time again that they control the narratives, that rather than question them, why aren't major outlets demanding a proper look into this case? Instead of investigative journalism, we get boilerplate headlines and quick dismissals. In a world where sensationalism dominates the news cycle, a double celebrity death should be massive news. Yet this case is being treated as if it's nothing really more than an unfortunate accident. And 10, will we ever get the truth? This is the most important. The final and most important question: will we ever know what really happened to Gene Hackman and his wife? if there's a cover-up, who benefits? Qui pro bono, qui prodest. Who benefits from keeping the truth hidden? What connections did Hackman have that might have made him a target? Are law enforcement and forensic experts being pressured to close the case quickly? And if so, who's pulling the strings? Who's writing the narrative? And finally, a case that needs more investigation certainly is here. From the rushed dismissal of foul play, to the eerie silence from the family, to the missing forensic details, every aspect of this case raises suspicion. As with many high-profile deaths, the public may never know the truth, may never know really what's going on. But we do know this. The inconsistencies, the secrecy, and the lack of real investigative journalism all suggest that there's something more to this story than meets the eye. The death of Gene Hackman and his wife should not be swept under the rug. Should not be just, oh well, because as you know, we have the attention span of a gnat. Until all the facts come to light, skepticism is warranted. This case deserves a thorough, transparent investigation, and the American public deserves the truth. And the question remains, who benefits from keeping it hidden? What do we not know? And who's in charge of disseminating that information? And why can't we express or expect more from our pathetic mainstream media? My friend, I ask you now to like this video. That always sounds so strange. Like this video, even though we're talking about that, but there's you know the particular phraseology. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. And more important than not, comment. What do you think? Comment as you see fit.